Dividing with exponents level 1. For appropriate work, let's start with the original problem. So I have 3 to the power of 8 divide by 3 to the power of negative 1. When we have the same base and we're dividing, we subtract the exponents. So beginning with the numerator, I have 3 to the power of 8. Then I will subtract. There's my subtract sign. Now the number in the bottom is a negative 1, so that's actually going to be a negative 1. I'm going to take a moment to rewrite a negative as a positive. So I'm going to put base 3, and then I've got 8, and then notice negative. We should know by now that's going to switch to an addition. So really, base 3, 8 plus 1. So then we end up with 3 to the power of 9, and we've got a direct match right here. All right, start with the original problem. I'm going to put 3 divide by 3 squared. I'm going to give this base 3 an exponent of 1, which is, I think, a good reminder. Sometimes kids forget to put the 1 and they think it's a 0, and then that's wrong. When we're dividing and we have the same base, and we're dividing, we're going to go ahead and subtract the exponent. So I'm going to start with my numerator of 3 to the power of 1, subtract, and the number that I'm subtracting from the bottom is a 2. So it's really 3, 1 minus 2 as a power. And then 1 minus 2, that's going to simplify to 3 to the negative 1. Now 3 to the negative 1 isn't there. That actually is our answer. So what we're going to have to do is we'll flip this to its reciprocal position. So I'm going to start by drawing a fraction bar. I'm going to put the 3 in the denominator, and that negative 1 exponent becomes a positive 1 exponent, and then make sure you add 1 to the numerator. So 3 to the power of negative 1 is equivalent to 1 over 3 to the power of 1. Now notice you don't really see this one. That's the same as this right here. Just remember that a power of 1, it's assumed that you don't need to write it. So those are actually the same. All right, original problem. So 4 to the power of negative 8 divide by 4 to the power of 2. When we have the same base and we're dividing, we will go ahead and subtract the exponents. So I get right the numerator, which is 4 to the power of negative 8, and then subtract, and the number that I'm subtracting from the bottom is a 2. So it's really 4 to the power of negative 8 minus 2. So I write my base of 4, and then negative 8 minus 2 is negative 10. Now I don't see 4 to the power of negative 10, so like in the last question, we're going to have to find the reciprocal position for 4 to the power of negative 10. So I'm going to give myself a fraction bar. The base moves to the bottom. And then that negative exponent will change to a positive exponent. And then we'll mark the numerator with a 1. Last one. We have 2 to the power of 3 divide by 2 to the power of 0. Again, always start by writing the original problem. When we're dealing with division and we have the same base, we will subtract the exponents. So beginning with the numerator of 2 to the power of 3, I will subtract the power from the bottom, which is a 0. So I will have 2 to the power of 3 minus 0, which would simplify to 2 to the power of 3. Now notice that 2 to the power of 3 isn't there. So in these situations where there's no fractions, really just remember that 2 to the power of 3 is really 2 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 2. And 2 times 2 is 4, and 4 times 2 is equal to 8. So this is the case where we actually just get 8. And I think that's it. That's our last example. So hopefully you found this helpful.